Welcome to Defining Dad Bod, where we work to untangle the messy knots of the health and fitness industry as if your children's lives depended on it. Because they do. This is where we decide to make our bodies stand for something bigger than ourselves. This is where we find practical wisdom to live by, one powerful conversation at a time. May the words spoken here inspire you to keep moving forward no matter where you are. Who knows who you could be if you could become 1% better every single day.
We can do the show thanks to the support of listeners just like you. For more information how you can become part of the inner circle, go to findingdadbod.com/inner circle.
What's up, guys? This is Alex Van Houten with Defining Dad Bod. I hope you're doing super well. I have just, as this week comes to an end, have just come out of a rough bout of laryngitis. This is the time of year where if you have kids, they're going to get some sort of crud. And so if my voice sounds a little weird, it sounded way weirder about 3 days ago when I sounded like a 13-year-old boy still going through puberty. But I'm super excited for the show you're about to hear, and I can't wait for you to add it to your repertoire and help you in the planning process for making the most out of your 2020. So in my weekend post-laryngitis state, I just wanted to say two things. One, if you're not a part of the Defining Dad Bod inner circle, but would like to be connected to a community of like-minded people who are working hard to become 1% better every single day, go to definingdadbod.com/inner circle. Fill out the form there to tell us a little bit about you, and then it will connect you to the Facebook group. Whether you're a dad, mom, grandparent, or just an influential man or woman in your community, it always helps to have other people in your corner and to know that you're not alone in trying to better yourself through exercise, nutrition, and lifestyle change. The camaraderie in that group's awesome, and many people in that group, though it's not a requirement, are those who keep the free content of this show unbought and unbiased so that we can keep researching, editing, producing, and broadcasting good content without pushing supplements or fads on you. Personally, I'd rather not produce a podcast than to produce one that couldn't be partial to the science, because science doesn't pay the bills. But thanks to the generosity of our inner circle, we don't have to worry about that around here. That's definingdadbod.com/inner circle. I hope to see you in there. And lastly, if you haven't already, drop a raving review for us on your favorite podcast platform. Screenshot that review and send it to Coach Al at definingdadbod.com, and I will personally mail you a thank you note and a Defining Dad Bod decal. You know, when I first had these made, I thought they made the most sense to put on a car, but one of my clients recently sent me a video of them doing squats in the gym so that I could critique their form. And in the background, I saw that they had put their decal on their water bottle, which I thought was a genius idea, and so I'll be doing the same. But if you want one of those decals, send a screenshot of your raving review to Coach Al at definingdadbod.com, and we'll hook you up. Well, that's about all the intro that I have voice for, so thanks for listening. Now let's dive into a long-term view of health and fitness. Welcome to Preparation 2020. One of the biggest problems I see in the health and fitness industry, and I've been in it for over 14 years, is short-term nutrition and exercise goals. And today I'm starting a series. I'm not sure how many parts there will be because I'm working to unpack this over time. There are plenty of points to help you navigate how best to set your sights in 2020, not only to have the best year ever, but to build a better foundation for yourself so that 2021, 2022, and so on can be better and better and better. Who knows what the limit is to positive, progressive change in your own personal health and fitness? And so today we're going to cover what long-term health and fitness goals actually look like. We'll investigate the motivations and where they come from. We'll talk about the nuts and bolts of how to know if you're making progress and how to look further in the future to continue making progress. We'll also be looking at the training, the nutrition, and the lifestyle required to continue making progress. And then later I have plans to also cover things like supplements, and even some of the confusing fads in the industry that come about because of short-term fitness goals. As you can hear, we've got a lot of ground to cover, and so I'm calling this series The Big Picture of Your Health and Fitness Journey and How to Get There. So let's dive in. Why am I even talking about this to begin with? Don't worry, I won't spend too much time setting the stage, as I've railed about it in several other podcasts here, and you've probably already heard me talk about it a bit. But setting the stage for the time we're going to spend on this subject is pretty important. You see, the health and fitness industry that you know today, the pictures you see on social media, the way gym chains advertise to you, the articles that you read, when you see things like, new study shows carbs are bad for you, or researchers say, watch out for eggs, or however else you might be exposed to the health and fitness industry, you need to understand that many of the confusing things that you're exposed to and that you've experienced in your own personal journey in health and fitness have come from a very short-term perspective of health and fitness goals. I'll give you an example. Recently, a man asked me if he should be intermittent fasting in order to get better results from his health and fitness program. That's a great question, I said. Fasting can be a powerful nutritional tool, not just for physical change, but for spiritual, emotional, and psychological change as well. And so I asked him why he was bringing the subject to our session. And he said that he read an article that intermittent fasting helped to increase men's testosterone. Man, that's quite the claim. So I asked him to send me the link. So I read the article, and sure enough, the writer was really excited about intermittent fasting and was telling everybody, especially young males, that if they would just go without eating for 18 hours every day and ate within a 6-hour window all of the calories that they need, that studies showed that that would increase their testosterone. Wow, fascinating, I thought. And so I clicked on the cited research article that the journalist was referencing, nutrition research, because the media's job is to make a big giant deal out of findings that might challenge the status quo. How do you ensure you get a whole bunch of traffic to your article? Well, make the claim that you have found some sort of testosterone-boosting secret. If you read the study, it was found that 24 athletic, college-age males were put through 4 weeks of intermittent fasting protocol. And the study found that there was a statistically significant increase in their testosterone levels over that period of time. What the researchers found was that testosterone and insulin growth factor 1 both increased slightly, somewhere in the neighborhood of about a 10 to 15% increase. That's pretty impressive, I thought. A 10 to 15% increase in only 4 weeks for testosterone? That's awesome. Now, that was college-age males, which is one of my clients who's currently exercising with his college-age son in his own program, would tell you, you never have more time on your hands and enough time to sleep than when you're in college. Whether or not you choose to do that, it's your own thing. But nevertheless, perhaps this might translate to a father of 3 running 2 businesses and getting 6 hours of sleep a night. And so he was curious about whether or not he should be intermittent fasting to improve his testosterone. The answer, according to that study, is not, yes, you should be intermittent fasting to increase your testosterone. Instead, it's, if you are an athletic, college-age male, intermittent fasting for 4 weeks might increase your testosterone. Why does the timescale matter, Alex? Well, in 2016, they did an 8-week study on 34 resistance-trained college-age males, and they found the opposite effect. Although there was a larger decrease in fat mass over those 8 weeks, that is to say, the men actually saw more of their abs showing by the end of this 8-week study, I quote, testosterone and insulin-like growth factor 1 decreased significantly with time-restricted eating. And so the full answer to my client's question actually comes to another question. My client asks, should I be intermittent fasting to increase my testosterone? To which I could reply with a question of my own. Are you interested in permanently increasing your testosterone while making long-term changes to your body composition? Or do you have a trip coming up in about 4 weeks that you'd like to see an elevated level of testosterone and a more visible six-pack? And with that information, we can make an educated choice of whether or not my client needs to be intermittent fasting right now. Yes, fasting would be helpful in the short term. No, the data doesn't indicate that needs to be a long-term strategy for your testosterone. And so it is with just about every single question I'm asked on a daily basis by my clients and other people who are looking for the best way forward for their own health and fitness goals. Whether or not you should be lifting heavy weights with fewer repetitions, or doing 3 times a week of 40 minutes of running, or working out when you've only had 4 hours of sleep, or taking creatine or magnesium, or cycling your carbohydrates, or really insert any health and fitness question here. My return question to you is, what is the long-term goal? If you did everything right, what would be different about you a year from now? And even more challenging, how can we reach that goal in a way that allows you to continue improving the following year? And so this is the fundamental problem in the confusion of the health and fitness industry. And it's also why, about 5 years ago, I shifted my training programs to focus almost solely on parents. It's not the case with everybody, because I do have some long-term thinking clients who aren't parents, but I've found it to be the case that it takes children to make most people think in the long term. Imagine a young woman in her 30s who's just finished having 3 children. She knows that prior to her 3 kids, she was 40 pounds lighter than she is right now, and so she embarks on a weight loss journey to lose 40 pounds. Everybody likes to see the fastest progress possible. It keeps you motivated. And so she looks up different ways to lose 40 pounds the fastest way possible. The problem is, many of those methodologies will lose you 40 pounds, but it won't keep the 40 pounds off. And so when she comes to me in a consultation and she says, look, I've tried just about everything. I keep losing the weight and gaining it back. I really don't know if there's an answer for me. My question to her is, what's more important to you? That you lose these 40 pounds in the next month? Or if we can lose these 40 pounds in a way that next year you're not still trying to lose the same 40 pounds, would you be willing to take a longer term approach? Most of the time she'd say yes. But even more important is when I say, why would you like to lose 40 pounds? And we get through the first answer, which is, I'd like to feel better, I'd like to look a little bit better, I'd like my clothes to fit nicer. And we start getting to the nitty gritty. We find answers like, I don't recognize myself anymore when I look in the mirror. I knew who I was before I became a mother, and now I'm not sure who I am, but I know I'm not the mother I would like to be. I've heard moms say things like, my kids send pictures of me when I was an athlete in college, but they don't see that person when they look at me now. I would like them to see a better version of me today. And I've heard the same thing from dads as well. I can speak from my own experience as a father. Even at my best, I was never looking more than 3 to 6 months ahead of myself until my son was born. And then I started thinking about him as a man someday and wanting to keep up with him and hike the trails that I enjoyed even then, and to be able to give him a run for his money as long as possible. I was 25 or 26 years old when I first started to envision what my life and my body especially would look like 15 to 18 years later. Think about this in relation to yourself. How many things have you done for your health and fitness, exercise, nutrition, maybe even supplements, that you had a short-term vision in mind for? Man, if I could just fit that dress. Or if I had a little less back fat in that picture. Or if I could just get ready for this 5K. Everything would be better. I would be all right. And how often have you worked really hard to reach that goal in the short term, and either tried or failed at it, and walked away from the whole endeavor less satisfied than when you started? This is the story right now in the world of health and fitness, and it has a lot of people very disillusioned about making any changes to their eating or making any changes to their exercise program or even trying to fashion their life around better health and fitness. Why do it? It's only temporary anyway, and it's not very fulfilling. And so enters this series. I want to explore with you a long-term view of your health and fitness, something that you're not going to see in the social media pictures, something that you're not going to find in the infomercials, and something that's not advertised on the billboards. A long-term view of your health and fitness goals requires you to ask the hard questions. It also requires you to integrate different aspects of your life so that they're working together synergistically to make things easier on you rather than harder, to continue pursuing self-betterment. A long-term view of your health and fitness asks less, what do I want to look like? And more, who do I want to be? Less, what diet should I go on? And more, what foods do I want to be a part of mine and my family's diet on a regular basis? Less, how many calories should I eat today? And more, how will I balance the quality and enjoyment of my food so that I build and maintain the best body I can while also enjoying the little pleasures in life? The question that I often ask in consultations is an easy one to answer. Is this goal important to you in the short term, or do you want it to last? And while it's really easy to say, I want this to last, it's much harder to understand what implications that has on the way you set your goals, on the nutrition changes you will make, on the injury prevention measures you'll take, and how a proper exercise program should be structured to ebb and flow with your way of life and the seasons you find yourself in. A short-term view of health and fitness might have you cooking 2 different dinners, one for you and one for your spouse and children, in order to reach your short-term goals. Whereas a long-term view of health and fitness might require you to structure your dinners around a protein and veggies your kids will eat and a pantry full of non-tempting carbohydrate-based snacks so that they get the short-term energy they need for their development and you're not constantly tempted to dig into the graham crackers. A short-term view of health and fitness might have you tracking weight as the most important factor when you go to your primary care yearly, whereas a long-term view of health and fitness might prefer to look at things like hemoglobin A1C or total cholesterol to HDL ratios instead. There are so many things we're talking about in this subject, and over the next few episodes of this series, we'll dive into these implications. And as often as possible, I'll cite the research that gives you a better understanding of why this is such an important thing that needs to change in health and fitness. But at the heart of this series is my desire for you to stop running on the hamster wheel of short-term health and fitness goals in 2020, and instead take a long-term view of your own self-betterment. Who knows who you could be if you could become 1% better every single day? And I believe that for many people, exercise, nutrition, and lifestyle change is the key to unlocking that upward spiral in their lives. The other thing I hope to bring to you in this series is the culmination of 14 years with working with real-life people. While in my career, I have worked with people to help them achieve short-term goals, and we'll talk about that in later episodes and when that might be appropriate. The vast majority of my clients would tell you that working with me has changed their life for the long haul, and you simply don't get reviews like that with a cheap 8-week program to six-pack abs. I feel like this has been a long intro to these concepts, but I also feel like it's been necessary, so thanks for sticking with me. I have 11 truths about lasting health and fitness that I want to walk through with you, and today I'll deep dive the first 2. And next time I talk to you about it, we'll see how far we can get into the rest of the 11. So here they are. Number 1, long-term health and fitness often has motivations that go beyond just you. Number 2, you'll never actually get there. You'll have to revisit your goals often to make sure you're continually moving forward. Number 3, in your long-term health and fitness journey, fitness interests will come and go. It's part of the process. Number 4, training programs are seasonal and they occur in phases. Number 5, body composition change, that is losing fat and gaining muscle, can either be a long-term strategy or a short-term strategy. The time frame matters in how you will approach those. Number 6, epigenetic change is more permanent than muscle gain and fat loss. 7, when it comes to long-term health and fitness goals, entropy and nutrients actually matter way more than caloric intake and expenditure. Number 8, in long-term health and fitness goals, social, professional, and familial support are resources that will need to be marshaled. You will not be a one-man or one-woman show in this. Number 9, sleep and recovery are an integral part of the process. Number 10, like training programs, supplements come and go based on whether or not they're needed for support in the process. And number 11, in a long-term health and fitness journey, the fact that you're not getting any younger will help you prioritize some of the things that you'd like to accomplish. I hope I haven't said anything too outlandish here to scare you away, so let's dive into number 1 and number 2. When we take a long-term view of our health and fitness, motivation and inspiration are required to keep us on the straight and narrow. If you've been following the show for a while, you've heard me talk about health and fitness heaven and health and fitness hell. Specifically, if you'd like to hear more on that subject, check out episode 120 on risk aversion. But often when it comes to long-term health and fitness, our own personal motivations are not enough to keep us moving forward every single day. It's a struggle to exercise when you don't feel like it. It's a struggle to make different nutrition choices than are easiest, most convenient, or tastiest at the time. It's a struggle to ensure that you get enough sleep on a regular basis. It's a struggle to ensure that work, family, community, and other things don't regularly take priority over your own pursuit of better health and fitness. There are so many forces outside of you that are working against you for your own health and fitness. When people come to me and they say, "Alex, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. I don't know how you can help me with that." I often ask, what forces outside of your control are working against your own health and fitness right now? And if they sit and think for just a couple seconds, usually they can rattle things off to me. Man, being a parent is so time consuming. It's often running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to make sure everybody has what they need and everybody gets where they need to go. Or my job's been really stressful lately. We have these big expectations on us at the moment, and it's really important that I put my projects first right now. Or maybe my city doesn't have sidewalks or bike lanes for me to run in. I'm looking at you, Greenbrier, Arkansas. Picture that you're one person trying to push a 12,000-pound Humvee up a hill. Gravity's working against you, the hill's bumpy, and this Humvee's not getting any lighter. That's the reality that many people face with their own health and fitness goals, especially in the long term. And they come to me and ask, Alex, how can you help me push this dang Humvee up the hill? Oftentimes, what my job is to help people understand the things that are pushing with them, or could be pushing with them if they would only align their lives that way. The truth is, there are many forces outside of your control that are working against your own personal health and fitness in the long run. And another truth is, there are many things that could be working with you for your own health and fitness, if you'd only recognize and utilize that resource. That being said, one of those resources is external motivation and inspiration. Your personal motivation and inspiration is not enough for a long-term fitness goal. It just isn't. Doesn't matter who you are, no Herculean effort on your part is going to continually fuel you for the next 10 years to pursue a better you. You're not going to be able to conjure that motivation on your own. So a very powerful and very important question worth asking yourself is, who else are you doing this for? And why does it matter? This shouldn't be a quick and easy thing to answer either. Recently, I was speaking to the middle schoolers in our local church, and I was talking about gratitude and the power that gratitude has to change the way our brain works. One of the things that we've found in gratitude research, and I say we as in the psychological scientific community, is that the practice of gratitude is only powerful if you're very specific and intentional about recounting the gratitude that you have. It's not enough to say, I'm thankful for my family. You have to be willing to explore a little deeper and say, I'm thankful for the way my family handles conflict. We might get a little heated under the collar and not always agree on the subject at hand, but we don't let it get in the way of family gatherings. Similarly, you can't just say, I'm thankful for my kids. You have to be more specific. I'm thankful for Gabriel and his enjoyment in running that I get to share with him, so that before school on most weekdays, he and I can go for a half-mile run together, and it starts my day off on the right foot and makes some great memories. In the same way, your recognition of external motivating factors, that is, who would you do this for and why does it matter, can't be a short answer. You can't say, well, I'm doing this for my kids, or I'm doing this for my parents, or I'm doing this for my coworkers, or I'm doing this for my spouse. You have to be more specific than that. You have to be willing to understand the ramifications of your own health and fitness on other people that really matter to you. If you're going to take a long-term approach to your health and fitness, you have to be willing to say, I'm doing this for my wife because she deserves a husband who respects himself and who she can be proud of when we walk in the room together. Or you have to be willing to say, I'm doing this for my kids. I don't want them to know what it's like to lose their father to heart disease at 55, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I'm there for them at their wedding, at their graduation, when they have their kids. It matters to me to be there. And if you're going to take a long-term view of health and fitness, you have to be willing to say, I'm doing this for my workplace and for my leadership position with my coworkers. My current level of health and fitness doesn't represent my company very well, and it ruins my credibility when I stand on stage or stand up to speak in a meeting. I want to inspire others with my habits and pursuits, rather than be an example of how not to climb the corporate ladder while sacrificing your own health for it. You may have different motivating factors than those I've spoken here. These are just some of the things that I have heard from clients in the time that I've been a trainer that have been deep enough and powerful enough to help them push the big Humvee up the hill. And so if you haven't already, explore this for yourself. Who are you doing this for? Who are you going to spend the time, the energy, the discipline, the willpower, the consistency to be better for? And why does that really matter? I don't know what your answer might be, but I know that the more specific and intentional you are with that answer, the more likely you'll be to be able to draw from that motivational pool when your own motivation's lacking. Pro tip: writing these things down on a 3x5 note card can be a powerful practice in and of itself, but putting that note card somewhere you're going to see it regularly, or maybe even attaching to it a picture or visual representation of the people who you're doing this for and why it matters, will bring this type of external motivation and inspiration to a whole new level. Personally, Gabriel, Bennett, and Kristen, my boys and my wife, are the people that I'm most often doing these things for, and I've done my best in other episodes of this show to talk about why that matters to me. I hope when you get the opportunity over the next couple weeks that you'll take this exercise seriously and that you'll get a firm grasp on the implications of your own long-term health and fitness journey on the people in your life that matter, and how you could impact them, either positively or negatively, with how you go about reaching your goals. Remember, the bulk of the motivation that you'll need to take a successful long-term view of your health and fitness goals is going to come from outside of you, not inside of you. The second truth we'll cover today is that you'll never actually get there, and you'll need to revisit your goals often. Wait, what, Alex? This whole conversation is about long-term goals, and you're telling me I'm never going to get there? Why should I even try in the first place? Well, if that's your attitude, I hope you'll refer to point 1 that I just covered. Rewind about 12, maybe 15 minutes, and listen to that all over again. But less jokingly, this is a truth that you need to wrap your head around. Exercise, nutrition, and lifestyle progress is a lifelong pursuit. And if you take a long-term view of your health and fitness, what you'll understand is, if you're not dead, you're not done. That's a very different message than what you're going to hear from much of the rest of the health and fitness industry. Do this program for 6 weeks and your pants will feel much better. Intermittent fast for 4 weeks and your testosterone will go up. Run every day for 3 months and you'll crush your 10K. None of these statements are untrue in and of themselves, but what they are, from the perspective of a 1% better every single day perspective of health and fitness, is the confusion of benchmarks with goals. Oftentimes, when I ask people to help me understand their goals, they give me benchmarks that they'd like to shoot for. But if I press a little deeper and I ask them about the long-term view of their health and fitness, what we find is the little things that they rattle off to me are not their actual goals. They're just indications in the relatively near future that they're moving toward their goals. And these benchmarks matter because, hey, we're human. I'll give you an example. One lady that I work with is very interested in being the best version of herself post 40 years old. She knows perimenopause and menopause is coming. She knows that her kids are growing up fast. And she knows since the birth of her youngest child 5 years ago that the last 5 years have not been very kind to her body. And so we have a long-term view of health and fitness progress together. Many of the things that we're focused on changing are with the idea of being better a year from now. But being human means that thinking 1 year in advance is a long way off. Never mind thinking 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years in the future. Not only can't we see that far in the future, but a lot of things are likely going to change between now and then that we can't predict. And so, to help focus our efforts, we've identified a few benchmarks between now and next year that really matter to my client. For instance, just a couple months from now, she's going to be in her younger sister's wedding as a bridesmaid. Her sister's 15 years younger than her, so she knows she's going to be in an open-back bridesmaid's dress, standing with 20-somethings in her mid-30s. And in her mind, she'd like to be able to carry herself in that ceremony in a way that brings honor to her sister, and so that the younger girls are asking her all night, "Man, what are you doing for your exercise and nutrition? You look great. I want to be just like you when I grow up." Is getting in great shape for this wedding her ultimate fitness goal? No, but it's a motivating benchmark on the journey to her long-term health and fitness goals. What I've found in my career is that these benchmarks, no matter how silly it might be to other people, really matter to my clients. And without these benchmarks on their long-term health and fitness journey, it's very easy to become lost and wonder why you're doing all this in the first place. Another one of my clients uses his birthday and his daughter's birthday as important benchmarks in his year. Interestingly enough, they're exactly 6 months apart, so no matter what he's doing with his health and fitness, he always has a good understanding of what he would like in the next 6 months in his health and fitness journey. Is looking great at the pool at his own birthday party the end-all be-all goal for him? No, but it's an indication to him that this year he's been on the right track with regard to his work, with regard to his life, with regard to his relationships, if his friends compliment his health and fitness at age 40 this year. Another one of my clients loves doing events as benchmarks in their health and fitness journey. Spartan races, half marathons, and triathlons are among his favorites. He's not necessarily training to be a world-class athlete in any of those events. However, being able to perform those events with his friends, enjoy them, and look good doing it are all good indications, benchmarks for him that he's on the right path in his health and fitness journey. The truth of the matter is, as human beings, with the best intentions in the whole entire world for ourselves, our families, our communities, our workplaces, we often need something tangible to look forward to help focus our efforts and to remind us regularly what it is we're doing with ourselves. After you've spent a cumulative 100 hours on a Stairmaster, it's very possible that the only thing that could make you feel good about that situation while you're trudging on endless stairs is the reminder that you have a 14K hike in the next couple weeks. and that instead of huffing and puffing every minute, you'd really like to be enjoying the view and having a great conversation with your companion who you haven't seen in a long time. So what are your benchmarks in 2020? What are the 1, 2, or 3 things that you can look forward to in the short term that are tangible, real events that can serve as proof to you that you're moving in the right direction of your health and fitness? And after you've identified those things, how are you keeping those things in the forefront of your mind? And have you spoken them to anybody? A lot of stuff is going to happen in the next year, and many of those things are going to make your health and fitness benchmarks look like small potatoes compared to what's going on in front of you. Maybe you'll get promoted at work. On the other end of the coin, maybe you'll get fired. Maybe you'll come across some financial success, or maybe some financial hardship. Maybe you'll get some news about your health that's not so good. Or maybe something powerful and positive will happen to one of your kids at school. Many things, both good and bad, are going to pull attention and focus away from your health and fitness goals in 2020. And that's great. I tend to view health and fitness as a foundation for handling and enjoying those things. It's not supposed to be first priority all the time in my mind. But if your benchmarks aren't clear to you, and you don't have a method for ensuring that those timelines stick in your mind, then you'll be missing out on this important aspect of long-term health and fitness goals. Whatever you identify them to be, make sure they're on the calendar and that you've spoken them to somebody, especially your trainer if you have one. Thank you for your commitment to long-term health and fitness goals and for being part of what's good in the health and fitness world right now. We've been through 2 of 11 truths with regard to these goals, and I hope it's been valuable to you. If questions arise for you while hammering these out for yourself, you can drop those in the Defining Dad Bod Inner Circle, or if they're very personal, you're welcome to email me at coachal@definingdadbod.com. And if you want some help navigating this altogether, our virtual coaching trial at Defining Dad Bod includes a 30-minute consultation where I have many of these conversations with new clients. You can get connected with that at definingdadbod.com/shop/trial week. The link's in the show notes below, and I'd love to help you get your ducks in a row for 2020. I'm looking forward to getting into the rest of this series, where we'll get into fitness interests, training programs, body composition, short-term and long-term change, epigenetic changes, and all the rest soon. This has been Alex Van Houten with Defining Dad Bod. Until next time, guys, kick butt, take names. The free practical advice and conversations here remain unbought and unbiased thanks to the support of listeners just like you. For more information on how you can become a part of the inner circle of Defining Dad Bod, go to definingdadbod.com/inner circle.